यू आर लाइव हो गया, लाइव होगी, लाइव होगी, लाइव होगी वीडियो, लाइव 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 देख लियो यूट्यूब पर। तू देख, तेरा मैंने बोला माइक ऑफ कर। हाँ तो एक और लैपटॉप लिया ना, रुक जा, वेबकैम तो बन रहा ही। वो डेस्कटॉप का देखना, नॉइस भी हो गया देखना ना, आवाज हो जाएगी। मैं भी लिखा इसको, मैं भी लिखा इसको। क्वालिटी बहुत बढ़िया आ रही है फोन में, 720 FPS। अरे गाँव भेज रहा हूँ, माइक ऑफ कर। देवेश्वर जान चुका हूँ तो क्या नाम था मम्मी नाइट चैनल पे।
Hello, is there Wi-Fi connectivity here?
इंटरनेट
Yes. How can I connect?
No, open है, मैम पोको एक्सपोर्ट,
पोको एक्सपोर्ट
Do it for me. Thank you.
बता दी। हो गया मैम 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 उनको भी ले लो, थोड़ा हुआ सर उनका फोन का वो करना कनेक्ट करना एक्सपोर्ट ओके एक्सपोर्ट। आपको क्या फोन
तो बॉडी से
जनरेटर जोड़ रहा था माइक बंद कर दे।
seated. In a very short while from now, we are going to start our inaugural function. Our guests and guests of honor are arriving between us. I request all the students to kindly. Our chairperson of today, Professor Amit Agrawal sir, is present between us. I request you, sir, to kindly come up on the dais. As our other guests are also arriving between us, I request all the students to pay the honor and stand up on their seats. In a very short while from now, our guest of honor will be arriving between us. Our chairperson, Professor Amit Agrawal, is already present between us. A heartily welcome to you, sir, on this occasion. Welcome and honor to you. I request all the students to kindly see the arrangements, as our other guests are also going to arrive in a very short while. We are very much honored to announce the chief guest of today's program is Honorable Dr. Ranjit Kumar Sinha sir, IAS, Secretary, Higher and Technical Education, Government of Uttarakhand, and he will be present between us in a very short while from now. And before that, we will be having our sessions in which keynote addresses will be delivered. Right now, our coordinator, our chairperson of today's conference, Professor Amit Agrawal, is already present between us, and we expect other guests to be present between us very soon. The convener of the program, Professor Amit Kumar Jaiswal sir. Our second chairperson, Professor MP Nagwal sir, Principal, Government PG College, Gopeshwar. Our guest of honor, Padma Shri Kalyan Singh Rawat ji, the environmentalist and founder, Mehti Movement. We have our keynote speakers present between us. Our esteemed keynote speakers, Dr. Narendra D. Deshmukh sir. Sir, I request you to kindly come up on the stage. So please be seated on the dais. In that sequence, we also have with us Dr. Suresh Pandey sir. Sir, I request you kindly come up on the stage and please be seated on the stage. And it's a moment of honor for us. Our guest of honor, Padma Shri Kalyan Singh Rawat ji, is between us. Please put up a huge round of applause for Padma Shri Kalyan Singh Rawat sir, a great environmentalist, the founder of Mehti Movement in Uttarakhand. I request you, sir, to kindly come up on the stage and be seated. It's a great honor to have you, sir, with us on this occasion of 2 days international conference on indigenous knowledge system and sustainable development. In a very short while from now, we will be having our convener of the today's international conference, Professor Amit Kumar Jaiswal sir. We are expecting him very soon. We are also expecting Dr. Abhishek Tripathi later on in this session. Professor MP Nagwal sir, the chairperson. In a few moments, we will be formally inaugurating this session. This session shall have 2 keynote addresses. The first address will be delivered by Dr. Narendra D. Deshmukh sir, who is already present on the dais. And the second keynote address will be presented by Dr. Suresh Pandey sir, We welcome you on the stage once again. And we are having just a few moments left for the other dice persons to arrive between us. I request all the students to kindly be seated. It seems it will take a little more time for our convener to arrive between us. So I think it's time to this inaugural session. Very good morning to all of you, all the dignitaries, all the distinguished guests, our eminent chairpersons, renowned speakers, members of organizing committee, participants, and dear students of 2 days international conference on the topic Indigenous Knowledge System and Sustainable Development, Integrating and Harnessing Information Technology, Medicinal Plants, Nutrition and Pest Control. It has been organized by B.Ed Department, Sri Dev Suman Uttarakhand University Campus, Gopeshwar, in collaboration with HRDI Mandal, Gopeshwar, and IT College, Gopeshwar. It's an honor and privilege to have all our guests of this session to be seated on the dais. I welcome you, sir. A very warm welcome is extended on the behalf of the entire organizing team. As we all know that our chief guest will be arriving a little later, so the formal inauguration will be organized at that time. So for now, we are proceeding towards the welcome session. I would now request the chairperson of today's international conference, Professor Amit Kumar Agarwal, sir, to kindly come up on the stage and present the welcome address at this moment. Professor Agarwal.
Good morning to everyone present over here. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all at this distinguished international Indigenous Knowledge System and Sustainable Development. The theme of the conference is Integration and Harnessing Information Technology, Medicinal Plants, Nutrition and Pest Control. I, on behalf of the Veer Madhav Singh Bhandari Uttarakhand Technical University Campus, as well as Government PG College, Gopeshwar, and Herbal Research and Development Institute of Gopeshwar, welcome you all in this conference. First of all, on behalf of the Institute of Gopeshwar and the organizing committee of the conference, I would like to welcome the Honorable Padam Shri Kalyan Singh Rawat ji. We welcome you, sir. You spare the time for this conference, and we hope that your word of advice will motivate our scholars and students, and they will learn from your experience. I also would like to welcome our keynote speakers, Dr. Narendra T. Deshmukh. Sir, we welcome you. Dr. Narendra D. Deshmukh is the ex-scientific officer from Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, Mumbai, and he has a great experience in the field of the science and education. I also welcome Dr. Suresh Pandey, sir, keynote speaker of this conference. Welcome you, sir. Dr. Suresh Pandey, Sir is the president of the Society for Empowerment through Environment Development, who is working in the Andhra Pradesh. Sir, we welcome and we are obliged that you come over here from a great distance, and today we will be honored to listen from you, sir. Thank you so much. And I also would like to welcome all the other distinguished invited speakers in the auditorium, panelists, delegates, researchers, industry professionals, respected press media, faculty members from the Government PG College, IT Gopeshwar, and all these students. Today, we gather here to exchange ideas, share knowledge and experience, to explore new directions that will shape the future of the world. The conferences like this are not more than just academic events. They are the platform for the collaboration, innovation, and inspiration. The International Conference on Indigenous Knowledge Systems and Sustainable Development focuses on how traditional wisdom can support India's Vision 2047. The conference brings together researchers, educators, and policymakers and NGOs, as well as indigenous leaders to share best practices about the role of indigenous and non-indigenous crops, medicinal plants, and modern technologies like artificial intelligence in sustainable progress. It highlights the contribution of the scientific bodies like Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, ICSSR, and UCOST, which are driving sustainable development. The discussion we are handling today has the potential to spark new partnerships, generate impactful research, and contribute meaningful to the society. I would like to welcome once again all of you. I wish that conference is a great success and how the discussion held today lead to the fruitful outcomes. With these words, I welcome you all in the premises of V. Madhu Singh Bhandari, Uttarakhand Tech University campus, Gopeshwar. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Professor Agarwal, for welcoming our guests on the dais and unveiling the underlying aims and objectives of conducting today's conference. And with that, we have our chairperson of today's conference, Professor M.P. Nagwal, sir. Sir, we request you to kindly come up on the dais and please be seated. A very warm welcome to the chairperson, respected Professor M.P. Nagwal, sir. Warm welcome to you, sir, on behalf of the entire organizing team. Well, as you all know, that today it is an era of knowledge explosion, technological advancement, and advent of artificial intelligence. We have mechanized almost all the aspects of our lives, following the monotonous, mechanical routine controlled and driven by machines all around. Looking back to our past, we realize that India has been the land of ancient values, cultures, belief systems, and spirituality, where Vedas and Upanishads nurtures our lives in all the aspects, be it adopting the simple food habits to conceptualizing the complicated astronomical predictions, or following the simple moral ethics to unveiling the profound mystery of nature. Yes, it is this Vedic culture that nurtures the roots of our Indian civilization, our indigenous practices, where knowledge system was built on the foundation of sustainable coexistence of man with the untold mysteries of nature. It's time to look back and analyze how our indigenous knowledge system evolved and promulgated the diverse, divine, pure, and spiritual exploration leading to sustainability. Well, to talk upon the realm of this indigenous knowledge system and its various dimensions, I now invite on the stage the keynote speaker for today, Dr. Narendra D. Deshmukh sir. We have with us Dr. Narendra D. Deshmukh is a very renowned and dedicated senior scientist who is also the special guest and the keynote speaker. Dr. Narendra D. Deshmukh has been the Senior Scientific Officer F for 34 years at Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, Mumbai, and recently got superannuated on April 30th, 2025. He has a long list to adorn his academic qualifications that ranges vibrantly from science background to the arts discipline, including MA, MPhil, PhD, and MBA degrees. Accomplishing his postdoctoral study from Marang Center for Maths and Science Education, Wits School of Education, Johannesburg, South Africa, he pursued his research in students' conception and misconceptions, open educational resources, activity-based science learning, critical thinking skills, participatory action research, and topic-specified pedagogical content knowledge. With his deep interest in tribal and rural education, health, biology, and teacher education, Dr. Deshmukh has authored many books and technical reports, organized 26th Biennial Conference of the Asian Association for Biology Education at Goa, and has been working on State Curriculum Framework School Education 2024. Besides this, Dr. Deshmukh has also conducted IT courses for research scholars on teaching overview, come practical and understanding teaching practices, which extremely emphasizes on pedagogical content knowledge and topic-specific pedagogical content knowledge. We extend our heartfelt welcomes welcome to you, sir, for honoring this occasion with your gracious presence. And now I request our chairperson, Professor Amit Agrawal, sir, to kindly present the bouquet, and felicitate our keynote speaker. Heartfelt welcome, sir. Very warm welcome on behalf of the entire organizing team. And this is a small gesture to express our obligation. I request our chairperson to kindly present the moment to the bouquet to our keynote speaker. Thank you so much, Dr. Deshmukh, sir. It's a great moment for us to listen from you at this moment. I now request. I now request the chairperson, Professor Amit Agrawal, sir, to kindly felicitate sir with the presentation of memento on this occasion. Thank you, Narendra, sir. It's a great occasion to have you with us on this platform today. It was a great moment for us to listen from you. You talked upon sustainable mindset among students through active participation. You talked upon integrating indigenous knowledge system with modern sciences. You talked about sustaining ecosystems, organizing one panchayats, traditional water harvesting, and other initiatives. It's a great honor for us to listen from you on this occasion. It's a great moment for us. Thank you so much for being with us on this occasion. And we shall truly seek to benefit from your insightful discourse. Thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this platform once again. Thank you so much. A small announcement to make. We have with us the Registrar of Sri Dev Suman Uttarakhand University, Sri Dinesh Chandra sir with us. Thank you, sir, for being a part of this occasion today. A very warm welcome to you. Sir, I request you to kindly come up on the stage. And I request our chairperson, Professor M.P. Nagwal, sir, to kindly present the sapling as a symbol of honor, as a symbol of welcome. I request our chairperson, and I request Sri Dinesh Chandra to receive this welcome, to receive this bouquet, a small gesture of our obligation on the behalf of entire organizing team. Kindly present this shawl as a symbol of our obligations, our regards from the entire team. Thank you so much, sir, for being the part of this platform today. It's an honor to have you with us, sir. Thank you so much. Now, moving on forward, we have our second keynote speaker for today, Dr. Suresh Pandey sir with us. I request you, sir, to be kindly present on the dais. Dr. Suresh Pandey sir is currently the president of SEED, which means Society for Empowerment through Environmental Development, promoting organic and natural agriculture and recycling of crop residues for growing mushrooms and flowers. He has provided leadership to many organizations and continues to pursue excellence in science of improving crops, productivity, food security, and conservation of environment. Dr. Pandey has done his PhD from Indian Agricultural Research Institute and is a gold medalist in MSc and authored more than 500 scientific papers, books chapters, and information bulletins. He is a fellow of several professional societies. His research profile includes temperate, tropical, and semi-arid tropical crops, mushrooms, flowers, vegetables, and also has a good knowledge and experience in hydroponics. Dr. Pandey has received several national and international awards, including Doreen Margaret Marshall Award 3 times, the King Baldwin Award 2 times, and Outstanding Scientific Article Award 4 times. Besides this, he also received Distinctive Scientific Achievement Award and Letter of Honors and Outstanding Scientific Achievement Award for grain, legumes, research and development in Nepal, Bangladesh, and India. Our warm regards and welcome to you, sir, on this platform, and your discourse shall be a great asset for us. I now request our chairperson, Professor M.P. Natwar, sir, to kindly welcome sir representing in the bouquet. Our chairperson, Professor Natwar, sir. I request you, sir, to kindly welcome sir on this occasion by presenting him this sapling, this bouquet, as our honor, as a symbol of our honor and respect, sir. Kindly accept it. And now, I request you, sir, to kindly proceed for your keynote addresses. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and the youngsters sitting behind. I would like you to come during my talk. Otherwise, I won't be able to give you what I wanted to give you or share with you. So, may I have my first slide, please? Esteemed dignitaries, Mr. Chairman, sir, my dear distinguished delegates, and I've written something, I think I should speak, that's better. Chairperson, Mr. Nagpal, Principal, SGSU College, Gopeshwar, Professor Agarwal Sahab. My honor to be sharing the dais with Sri Kalyan Singh Nawarji, esteemed members of who are attending this conference, and students. It's very honor for me to present myself and share my views with you on something which I have coined as a Himalayan harvest regarding the traditional ecological knowledge for sustainable livelihood and future of the farmers, and maybe if it fits somewhere in the minds of the policymakers of the country as well as the vision to 2047 of the country, Viksit Bharat. Esteemed dignitaries, we stand today at the foot of the magnificent Himalayas, the Devbhumi, the land of the gods, a sacred landscape that has nurtured a civilization for millennia. This place, our Uttarakhand, is not just a geographical entity. It is a living laboratory if you see carefully. We have been seeing it when we are traveling to this place, and when we traveled to the Badrinath, we saw the harsh hills, the sturdy mountains, the rivers, the landslides, and that is the reality of the Uttarakhand, and that the reality, the real challenge, which provokes us to talk about how to sustain this. However, our ancestors, our elders were very well educated in this. This is what I feel. And that's why they coined the term Devbhumi. I will come to this more when I will discussing this. This place, our Uttarakhand, uh, as I said, it's a living laboratory of sustainability where every ridge, every valley holds a lesson in harmony between humanity and nature. It's easy to say if we don't do anything else. It's easy to say that nothing can be done here. But we have to think little categorically and analyze the things, the factors, keeping in view each factor, and then see why. We have to question a lot about it. So my discussion today is centered on the Himalayan harvest, the crops, the forests, and the very way of life woven by the hands of its people. We are here to talk about a powerful, often overlooked knowledge resource which our people have carried here. So I would like to put more emphasis on technical knowledge, and I think please go to the next. Oh, there is something here. This is the reality. Everywhere the terrace farming, we have seen it. And people see, and land holdings are very small here in Uttarakhand. If you see the Uttarakhand, most of you already know, but I am trying to reintroduce it. It's only 11 to 13% is the plain area, and less 86 to more than 86% is very, very harsh. Out of that, 50% is a very steep, 20% is a steep. And there are inner valleys, and each has a very different ecology. Today morning we are in 0, but in the daytime it could be 22, 23 degrees Celsius. Rainfall, crops are all our constraints, or we live with them. So the context took the context of fragile Himalaya. Why we call it a fragile Himalaya? The problem is how modern agriculture, the monoculture, the chemicals, is sustainable in Uttarakhand. Due to why it is not sustainable? Because there is a soil erosion, water scarcity, and on top of it, we are facing the brunt of climate change. The solution is traditional ecological knowledge and the resilient time-tested approach that respects the mountain ecology. I'll try to weave my talk around these two things, and let us see how it goes. The strength of traditional ecological knowledge is it is biodiversity resilient. You must have seen traditionally in each field we used to grow 12 crops. Barajanya. You know, bara anajon ko mila ke barajanya. Water and the water scarcity, we are already managing the water security in the form of nalas and dharas. We forgot to see the 4 most important dharas in Badrinath, in Garhwal, Uttarakhand. In conservation, we have the sacred groves. And that's why this state is known as Devbhumi, because each goddess or god protects a jungle or a forest area. I will come to it in detail. Now, this is the ecology. Think about it, where to be sustainable and how these people are sustainable. My hats are off when I see this kind of farming, and the people are growing the traditional crops. See the ecology from top to bottom. There's a pointer in this one? No. Okay, from top to bottom you can see. Where the more water is there, normally what happens? The water flows from the top to the bottom. And on the lower ridges there is called fields where the water stagnates. Traditionally, the Uttarakhandis or we Uttarakhandis plant rice. Otherwise, it's all rainfall agriculture. The topmost ridges have a jhungura or other millets. Central ridges, we will plant the ragi or the madhua. So that's how we used to survive, and then it was also traditionally classified on the maturity of the crop. Earliest maturing was on the top, and the crop it takes long time was on the bottom, so it's more. And then the crop type system was based on cereals and pulses. And pulses were on the ridges. And those pulses which can tolerate and were also a kind of organic management of pests and diseases. And it has not been documented. So in 12, I talked about the 12 crops. These are the 12 crops. Madhu or Ragi, for the millet, or I don't want to say more. Ramdana is an analysis. Rajma is a kidney beans. Ogre is a buckwheat, which is highly priced crop, and Japanese will buy this one at any cost. They are so fond of buckwheat noodles. They don't know it. Then the moon is very little. Bahar or put we call horse plum, or grown as a this the crop is ideal for your stones and other things. Soup with adequate. Why I'm trying to emphasize it? I'm not here, but I thought that I'm now. Why these are so important? Because they, if we give them a made in Uttarakhand tag and market them properly in big city stores, you will find them selling at the cost of 400 rupees small packet. And those, sorry to say, those all health conscious ladies and gentlemen, they consume it. Oh, it's a madhua. Yeah, this is madhua. Why not? I lost my faith. That's how they express. But where the origin, where it has originated, has not gone to that. So we have to work on this. This is the Bharajana. These are the 12 fundamental crops which are traditional crops of Uttarakhand. And surprisingly, these crops are there in many parts of Africa. You go to Uganda, you find millet is a staple food. You go to part of Zimbabwe, it's a staple food. You go to Andhra and to Karnataka and to certain parts, millet or ragi is the first feed given to the children. And ragi is one of the crops which has the highest iron content. Forget about its other things. I mean, we know that these crops doesn't have a gluten. So they are the health crops. Thanks to our Prime Minister who has given them a Shri Ann. He calls them a Shri Ann. Otherwise, they were known as Mota Anaj. Mota khane wala, Mota Dimag. That's how I was grown in my village. It's Gawar ka khana, but it is not. That's how the things were put to these crops. Anyway, now coming to I'm used to the handling. Coming back to Nalas and Dharas. Nalas are ancient water harvesting systems focused in the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand. Nalas are small, sheer, stone-lined reservoirs that collect and store the water from natural springs. Some nalas are as old as Suran Nala has 1,000 years old. And it has the tag of Heritage Tag of Government of India. Dharas, we have 5 groups of dharas, and Prahlad Dhara, Bhilpu Dhara, they are the most famous dharas in Badrinath. Besides known for their natural beauty, dharas are source of natural and traditional water harvesting system in Garhwal region of Uttarakhand. So we have the water harvesting system, we have the water conservation system, and we have the water management system traditionally known. It needs to be blended or combined with the modern knowledge and then use it. This is where I go to focus. So this is the one, Nala, and these are the dharas. I think that they are the issues of those who made. And conservation of sacred groves. Now, why Devbhumi word, as I said, mentioned, is a community land conservation. And these are the abodes of the deities. For example, if you go to Bilsa, it's a Bilsa Mahadev Bilsa, or this Chandramani. There's a Chandramani Devta is named in Garhwal. And similarly, there's a Golu Devta, Chandrabhadini Devi, and Naga Devi. These are the first. I mean, our gods have been given, see the traditional ones. Don't go there because God will be angry. Or it will somebody your family. So they have, it's how the funds were conserved in different parts of Garhwal and come over here. Now, biodiversity, sacred groves were why? Sacred groves were the sources of biodiversity because nobody is allowed to get out of some threat or fear. So, biodiversity was maintained in C2G conservation. We call it in today's modern language. Similarly, water conservation reduce the surface runoff. They also help in recharging the underwater aquifer and better walkability because the water was hygiene. They say it's a very common saying in here. कि या पहाड़ों में आके भूख बहुत लगती है, I'm eating too much. Because the water is coming from the 100% natural resources. It contains the sediments of different rocks. Also, it filters through the roots of the several medicinal plants. And also, they regulate the microclimate. They maintain the soil health. And faith is the first line of defense for nature conservation, which has been always traditionally followed and nurtured through children. Even we have the festivals, we have days in this that the children learn why to do. We treat to be harmed and we treat not to be harmed. I give you a small instance. There are certain trees in the village which don't fruit. I discovered a scientific meaning late in my life. They do not fruit. So what we say when there is a lunar eclipse or a moon or a solar eclipse, the mothers send with a sickle their daughters or children to go and make the cut on the tree and say, if you don't give me the fruit, I will cut you. That's a cut to the tree. But they put the point. Later on, when I was studying, I found it's the balance of nitrogen and carbohydrate ratio. Because the nitrogen mode which is going up, it leaks down, and carbohydrate which is needed for the fruit formation, it comes and next time it flowers. So see, and this has not been documented. I did not find even a single reference of this kind of a research, which some older lady or grandma told to her. I think some of my elderly people will be agree with me. This I discovered late in my life. So these are what I'm trying to say. The faith is the first line of defense for nature conservation. And these are some of the sacred grooves which are still been maintained properly. Hartali, Chandravati Devi, Guru Devta. And I also given the names where they are Kharsu Oak. That's if somebody wants to go to Kharsu, it's a beautiful place. And see the water quality there. So these are, but it's tough to go there, very tough. These are reasons I've already mentioned. Constraint, why is this knowledge is fading? The question comes to all the questions. Ghost villages, today everybody is running out here because then everybody has to come to feed. Why is only the Khans and the Kapoors and Nehrus and the Gandhis can furnish? Why not the Nodiyals and the Pandeyas and all the Tiwaris can go and do something here? So that's the question. So that's why our villages are closed, our lands are abandoned, and they are in the hand of the aged farmers or grandfathers get free. Policy and market discrimination is too much right from the beginning. We were traveling to this place, and the lady was selling the beautiful, freshly organic harvest of grains from the roadside. And we were bargaining 100 rupees, no, 50 ka dino. Why? You have to see this. It's a hand fashion deal. How much it was taken, but we don't bargain that with the supermarkets. Why not? So these are, and the science gap, of course, things were not documented, and there was a need to bridge the gap between the improved technology and the traditional technology and make a blend. See, I think one of my friends is going to talk about foods of Tamil Nadu, or ancient medicinal foods of Tamil Nadu. That's an interest in this country has a very interesting thing. We know the medicine, how the Tamil thali is being made, one has this similar to Tamil thali. There are things about it. Okay. Okay, I've already talked now. I'm saying that this is the structure of my talk. Why do we call fragile Himalayas? Why do we develop sustainable and profitable agriculture based on traditional food crops and naturally organically grown medicinal crops? What is the potential scope and success? Is there any scope for rejuvenation on old temperate foods? When the Britishers came, they gave the first fruit laboratory of, they were so fascinated by the fact they started the apple. It was in Ranikhet. You go to Ranikhet, government orchard is abandoned. And today Himachal is number one. Unfortunately, I belong to Himachal also. I have seen the growth of Himachal also. So my heart bleeds when I find in neighboring state from where my ancestors have moved, Uttarakhand, why it couldn't follow that model of Himachal. So that's why I put this, and government is doing a lot. I'm coming to government initiatives also on this, and how and where the scope of potential introduction of an expansion of new and exotic crop species. As I said, it has a very varied climate. We say you can't divide Uttarakhand into 2, 3 because there's location-specific climate and location-specific needs. For example, even after crossing 6,000 feet above sea level, you will come down to the valley where you can grow the mangoes or the tea or the dragon fruits or any other crop, which is as good as anywhere else. The question will again come its marketability and its transport. Now, how to tackle these are few things that you might, and then I will conclude my talk with the case study and the fragile Himalayas. I think I can skip it. Most of you know it is bookish knowledge. Yes, it has the geographically young and unstable. That's why we couldn't fix the road, proper fix the road for the last so many years. But we now know where we have a different study, and of course the pilgrimage goes. Steep topography and shallow soils. Our soils are very, very shallow. They are insectic soils, they are many acidic soils. It's other than the Tarai or the Udhampur, Nagar, just the Tarai, which is just about maybe 3-4 districts of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand. We have soils are very fresh, very fragile, and they are 90% insectic soils. The climate sensitivity, we are very highly vulnerable. We do not know when it will rain, when it will not rain. That's why we had the traditionally water. And Himalaya is basically about the tower of Asia. If you see, the Indus, Ganges, the Brahmaputra, all coming from Himalayas. And if you go a step further, Indo-Gangetic plain of India or Indo-Gangetic plain of Indian continent, it will start right from Indus Valley, somewhere in Pakistan, to the Bangladesh. It is fed 99% by Himalayan rivers. And if you see the 10.8 million hectare of the land, which is from Amritsar to Calcutta, all the fertile lands are, fertile plains are fed by rivers of Himalayas. And that's why the rice and wheat and rice are the common crops in 10.8 million hectares, which is one of the largest wheat and rice growing area, which was fed by Himalayas. But we don't get any concession to it. I mean, I don't think that our government, that this is our water, you give us some money out of it, or we will go for carbon crediting or go for water crediting. Those things are there. Why the check this? I will forget. Now, traditional food crops, I said millets, they were known as pseudo cereals. Now, finger millet, barnyard millet, we have already shown you about why these crops are so important, because they have a drought resistant, soil health, and biodiversity. And they can be grown, they will give you something with the good rain, something with the bad rain, something with the no rain. That is the beauty of these crops. I can't say no rain, there will be some moisture, but these crops they definitely give you. I have seen the fields in Uttarakhand where people systematically grow these crops and they harvest. And there's a big market for them. I have already talked about them. And naturally organic crop or medicinal crop. These are the second one, developing the profitable agriculture. If you want, we have to work on sustainable harvest, value addition, agro-forestry integration. I will not read into detail because the time is the limit, or people are reading it. The mountainous region of Uttarakhand has significantly potential for the success of traditional food crops and medicinal crops. Inherent organic advantage. You have the inherent organic advantage. Even today, the fertilizers and pesticides have not reached or applied to the extent as they are used in the cereal crops elsewhere in India, or the vegetable crops elsewhere in India. We don't spray our vegetables so much in Uttarakhand. Unique agroclimatic zones. We have many agroclimatic zones, and there is a global demand for superfoods and herbs. So if we encash one or two slogans out of it, and young entrepreneurs can start doing this, I know a few of them. I've been talking to them and giving my advice or my things, and they are doing. There are people who do not spray even a single, and their clients are in Norway, in Holland, in Germany. They directly ship organic honey to them. Prices $20 per 100 grams. So because that's 100%, because he has to. So I mean, there is a very interesting stories about it. I mean, saying the success stories are there. Community-led custodianship is very important, and government is encouraging. The government focus is there. The state government is increasingly focused on the promoting organic farming, horticulture, and reviving the traditional crops, providing policy and subsidy support. Yes, there is a little lacunas. Many people feel, of course, I won't say they feel little hesitant in taking the subsidy. Traditionally, they feel it's a kind of a loan on us. But youngsters are not doing that. And fortunately now, most of the farmers are young, so they are coming ahead. Our classical example is where we are staying in Devghar. That person has made that hotel and land, and I suggest him to why don't you go for agri technology and agri technology led tourism. So those are things which people will pick up here. What happened? Moving finished? No? There should be more slides. Okay. Now this is the conference where the Millet Mahotsav was celebrated in Uttarakhand. Prime Minister inaugurated it, and so that is a kind of incentives given to the millets of Uttarakhand. It's a big thing. Now people are encashing on it, and I will come to those soon. Policy support for promoting traditional and medicinal horticulture crops. So these are the crops Uttarakhand has already fixed a minimum support price for the traditional crop, which is an encouraging step from the government. We cannot say the government is not doing, and I'm not a supporter of any government, but what is the genuine things I would like to bring to the audience. Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana is one of the certified organic farming initiative which several people are taking care of. There are a lot of medicinal and aromatic plants, MAPs, central sector schemes for conservation, development, and sustainable management of medicinal plants. There is also schemes of aroma policy. So these are the government initiative. New horticulture and high value crops. Mission for integrating development of horticulture crops. It's a state and central government scheme for new crops, and umbrella schemes are also there. Under these schemes, so many things which you can rejuvenate the old orchards. Now what the people are doing, the old orchards are based on the traditional, the long duration apple trees. The new trees are the mulling root stocks, which are 13, 11, 14 numbered, etc. So they can be, now those orchards are coming into existence, and the one or two orchards I have seen in parts of Kumaon and Karwal, which are making big, which are, I mean, motivating to the young farmers. Kiwi policy. Kiwi was known to be only the fruit from the New Zealand. Now it has started coming in. The young entrepreneurs are going here as well as in Himachal. Fortunately, I saw it in the parts of Tamil Nadu also. It's experimental. So dragon fruit policy. People say dragon fruit is basically a cactus. It has a genetic makeup as a cactus. It doesn't need any water. So this is, but dragon fruit grown in Uttarakhand has a better taste, better juice, because we have a different humidity problem. And then beekeeping and the pollinators. There's a big business in the apple orchards of the pollinators, supplying the pollinator boxes for pollination. If you go into detail of each of these fruits, you need that the bees play an important role in pollination. So if our entrepreneur just rears the bees and in the flowering season transports them in the orchards of kiwi or dragon fruit or I'm not sure the dragon fruit need this, or any fruit, pome fruits, apricots. This is a big business in Himachal which I have seen. And all pollinator suppliers are from plains. I think it gets stuck. Now, conclude success stories of traditional eco-friendly knowledge and improved technology in Uttarakhand. The introduction of improved agriculture and horticulture policies in Uttarakhand has led to several notable success stories, primarily focusing on high-value crops, protected cultivation, and revival of traditional resilience. So, high-value crops, fruit cultivation, kiwi, protected cultivation, polyhouses and greenhouses, which are providing the very nice commercial foods, commercial cultivation, revival of traditional climate resilient crops, commercial scale entrepreneurship of mushrooms. This is my pet subject. I will spend some more. And revival of introduction of high density apple orchards. This is the new thing, the revival of old apple orchards and new high density apples, where the apple tree can give fruits in 4 years. Traditional fruits traditionally take 10 years. So these are the new government initiatives which will help. High value fruit cultivation. This is a very Devakoti village in Tehri. I think some of you might be knowing about Sita Devi. Very pathetic story. She was outcast from her village, you know that. When she was growing, people make a majak of her, they make a fun of Sita Devi. And she is now known as the Kiwi Queen. So, see, the Nari Shakti is there. The women of Uttarakhand are not, they could be white women, but they are determined. This lady had done. My next story is protect Rajendra Singh Kharanga of Bageshwar district from Mau Hills. He was a driver in somewhere in Bombay. He came out of job and suddenly thought, why I'm going back? He returned from halfway and started making body houses. And started going for this site is not very good, but that's no way. Implementation, innovation of polyhouse farming is a lot in the Tarai regions, and it is now slowly coming up into the Bageshwar Valley and some parts of Dehradun and Tehri and Pauri regions. Jabra, flowers, bell pepper, and tomatoes are grown. Now the question is, you can grow everything in polyhouses because the climate is on our favor. But the question comes how to transport to the users in Bombay or in Delhi or anywhere else. We can buy the Thailand grown orchids in Delhi. We can grow the grown tulips in Delhi, but we cannot grow Uttarakhand grown flowers in Delhi. See that is the irony of our situation. So there are some medicinal aromatic plants, and many models are there, successful model. Each village in Chamoli district is doing very well. 320 farmers are already working in this. These are the success stories. Commercial cultivation of medicinal aromatic plants. Just a slide to show. This is the traditional pulses with improved technology in Bageshwar. And this is a lady from Tehri. She's planting one of the medicinal plants. I'm forgetting its name. Maybe Kutki. And this is he is a man, Bij Andolan, who is working Vijay Jardhari. He's a man who has asked a youngster to go back to the roots, take these crops and grow it. So this is the success story. And see the amaranthus. Quinoa, how many people in this group know quinoa? You know the quinoa? How expensive it is. This is the sister of quinoa, amaranthus. I met a Russian scientist coming to Almora and said, where is the chinopodium? And this is the competitor. We have been growing it traditionally here. Quinoa comes from Latin America, I know, and its prices are very high because it has no gluten. None of these crops have gluten. Quinoa and cereals. All have high cereals. This is a fascinating story. Even as a scientist, when I was working on mushroom, I couldn't make any head. My hats off to Naveen Patwal and Poonam Sharma. They are the first scientists, in my opinion, they were the IT people. They kept their job, started the entrepreneurship on mushroom. Okay, that lady is the Vidya Rawat, who's holding the oyster mushroom. This is the couple is Okay, I've given the name. Mushroom lady is Divya Rawat of Master Mushroom and Naveen Patwal in Purna Gucci. This is the crop highly priced, 30,000 rupees per kg to 100,000 per kg. This crop, I think I don't have a comment, but this crop, more on this. He is able to grow it artificially now in Darbar. He quit, both the couples have quit during COVID, their IT jobs. They studied. I did little PhD, little research long back I think long back, you can make out. When I could grow only primordials, because we didn't have the facilities. Theory is, or the history is, this good chi will only come when the air, but lightning strikes the spawn and the primordials. So they created the facility. I think 5 to 10 lakhs they spent. 20 square yard is their area, and they are growing now. They know the whole, they are better than any scientist on growing chi. Similarly, the Divya Rawat, she is also a very inspiring lady. She got awards also from President of India. She is basically, I think, she was IFKI graduate in commerce, switched on to this in one of the small villages in Dehradun. I came in her contact, I do not know how, but she got inspired. Now she is not growing only this, she grows close to 12 types of mushroom, including the jadi mushroom, jadi kira jadi mushroom, which is a highly medicinal mushroom. Its value is 150,000 rupees per kg. And these are 40 rupees to 40, but that is her entrepreneurship. These are two ladies. That lady is also left, and she is focusing on, again, medicinal mushrooms, and this gentleman is on mushroom. So these are something the driver of our part. This is the first person high density agriculture, first commercial study innovated in Uttarakhand. So thank you very much. This is what is my Uttarakhand. Give one mushroom, 20 types of mushroom, A to Z technology, free of cost. Just give me a room to sleep and right time to come. Good luck.
First of all, let us talk about numismatics. Environment science. Environment, that word has become very popular in the 20th century. Nowadays, it's a word spread everywhere. But it doesn't mean that we Indian people were not having any kind of knowledge about environment. But we have some deeply rooted traditions, some deeply rooted faiths, which were reflected by the coins of those periods. And that's why numismatic, I think, is one of the best tools to showcase that we Indians too were having some traditions related with environment. See, here are some points. In the first row, you will find 4 points, and each one having the symbol of sun on it. Each one having the symbol of sun. The first one belongs to the Buddha period. If you want to know the exact date, that is 2,600 years before from now. It is 600 BCE. These were the Janpada coins. There were 16 Janpadas and Mahajanpadas. And there you will find the symbol of sun in the very first coin, a silver coin. The second one, again, the Mauryan coin having the sun there. The next 2 coins also having 1 coin. The third one is from Pratapgarh state, and the 4th one is from Indore state. Remember, all these 4 coins belongs to different eras, to different rulers, but still they have one common chord, and that is the nature, sun, which they depicted on their coins. And there were many more, you can say, princely states of India, which minted coins with the symbol of sun, sometimes even trees, bull. In the next row, you will find the second one. It's a very special coin, the first one. It's a silver coin belonging to Kabul. And the coin is known as the Hindu Shahis of Kabul. Nowadays, everything has been wiped out in Afghanistan, but still, you can't wipe out the coins. These are the authentic resources to know the history. The first coin is the Hindu Shahis of Kabul coin, and the king was Samantadeva. On one hand, on the upper side, you may find the king riding on the horse, and this is the river side having a bull on it. So we have the tradition of bull in Mohenjo-daro and Harappan civilization. Later on, in the Buddha period, in the Mauryan period, later on, just coming down, the Hindu Shahis of Kabul, and again, next one, the second coin showing bull, it belongs to the Indore state. And then the last two coins. Third, I would like to talk about India became free on 15th August 1947. But we took 3 years to just launch the first currency of independent Republic India. And the question was about to just bring the new symbols. British are gone and they adopted the new symbols. And again, you may find one on the third coin. They established some coins, the 1 rupee, half rupee, quarter rupee, then 2 annas, 1 anna, 1 anna, and half anna. So on 2 annas, 1 anna, and half anna, they were having the bull. And the bull has been taken from the pedestal of Ashok Stamba. On the pedestal, you will find only 2 animals, one bull, the second one horse. And they printed the picture of horse on the smallest coin that was called as piece, or we call it pesa. Look at the tradition we have. We were the nature lovers, we were the nature worshipping people. And all you can show to your students through these coins. My students enjoyed everything. While teaching history, I used to just bring these coins in the classrooms and used to hold a class exhibition, a new type of activity. If you are teaching the British history, just show them the British coins, let them observe without any kind of information, just let them observe. Even again, I never use information on it. Too many sentences in paragraph, no. Just pictures, let them observe. And the student used to ask so many questions later on. And the next day when I started teaching history, actually I was not teaching, they were learning. They were asking so many questions, trying to just concentrate on the pictures and then attach the information to the coin. Numismatic, I think, is very helpful, not only in teaching history, but also in teaching other subjects. When we talk about interdisciplinary approach, in that you will find these coins are helpful in teaching some English lessons too. In 2012, as a Fulbright scholar in Washington, there was a challenge for us to present a lesson. They said, okay, methodology, your methodology and our material. At that time, 50 state quarter dollars coin I collected and taught the American history in American classes. So it's history, okay? And later on, there were some mentions about the coins in some language books too. So numismatic is very helpful in learning other subjects. It's a result of some different activity. Mine was a small village, attached with some hamlets and some other 70 small villages. We used to carry out some environmental projects. And in that, we focus on the birds of our area. The birds of our area. And students from the villages, they used to come from 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers. And at that time, we just decided to collect the information about the local birds. And they collected not only the feathers, the quills, broken nests, the broken eggs of animals. And remember, they were having a lot of knowledge about their habitat, their habits, how they get the food, and the competition to capture the food. and especially they collected these beautiful quills. I can't believe because see, we have restriction in plane, so I was unable to bring these beautiful shapes. One thing they learned very special. Here you will find the blue quills in the first row, the second one, and the last one, fourth one. The second one, they are the feathers of Indian roller coaster. And the last one, looking the same one, they are the feathers of kingfisher, white-breasted kingfisher. And our students were able to identify this different type of feathers because in kingfisher, the upper side is blue, but the reverse one is black. And secondly, there were so many black feathers, a crow, drongo, but my students were able to identify, yes sir, this is drongo's feather and this one is crow's. Knowledge you can't only gain from books, you have to go beyond the books. And the environmental projects, they are very rich resource of creating your own material. We used to create these materials years and years, and there was a bank of feathers. I have brought just only 8 sets, but we were having more than 2,000 feathers in our feather bank in my school. Follow me. That is matchbox collection. For local, if you collect the matchboxes, you can find everything on the matchboxes. See, the ancient one, horses, tigers, elephants and lions. And these preliminary sheets were all made by the students. Getting the central paper, collecting the matches, sorting them out, classifying, pasting it on a sheet, and then using it for environmental purposes, environmental projects. Secondly, we always used to carry out every year some exhibitions for small kids. That is, you can say, pure learning. The big students of class 11 and 12, they used to organize an exhibition for the little one, kids, and these kids used to see all this film on the sheets, and again they used to collect. So every year our treasure was enriching. Batch per batch, they added something new, some new matters, some new concepts. On which you can find everything. So another resource, that is preliminary. And the international stamps. Every country is producing stamps on the last day every year. You have to collect. Okay. Nowadays it's becoming a little bit less. You can't find the stamps very easily. But yes, there was a time. I joined my services in 1991. In those days, we used to get so many stamps, Indian stamps as well as foreign stamps, and we carried out. We just collected, made the sheets, and we carried out the exhibitions to different schools. And the students added it. These are all the successful stories of my students. Something I would like to go back a little bit. There was an activity carried out by my students and myself, and it was called as summer sanctuary. Summer sanctuary means during summer in our region, Vidarbha that is my place. Vidarbha is a drought-prone region, and the temperature goes up to 46, 47 degrees during summer. It's very hot, and the scarcity of water. So everywhere you may find the people they are struggling to survive. What about the birds? So we planted some small trees, some bushes around our houses. My students too, they too got some saplings from our authorities, and we planted it near the houses, and we made arrangements for water, putting some earthen pots, and even some you can say food we kept there. In the initial stage, the birds they were not even looking at our sanctuary. After all, they were just watching, observing. Then the Ricky was there, and sometimes an occasional bird used to just visit the earthen pot and drink some water and fly away. But later on, within a period of just a week, the birds started staying there for the whole day, drinking water, eating food, and just whirling and making sound and just whistling. It was a nice experience. Usually, people go to some different places, forests and some ponds to visit for seeing the birds, watching the birds, and we call it bird watching activity. But we call a bird to our home, and in that period, we just registered around 40 different species of birds visiting our home sanctuary, or we call it summer sanctuary. And that project, it was presented in form of a research paper at Colombo, Sri Lanka in 2016. There was some person from Singapore, and he was very much impressed. And he said that yes, you just write down an article, and then this article was published by Nature, and they all wanted these activities to carry out in some other places too. Some of my teacher friends, they carried out these activities. We got some beautiful photographs, we got some beautiful videos, and particularly when they published this article, we got some help from some people too. One of my friends, he sent me the bird feeders from somewhere I don't know, but suddenly I got some bird feeders and all. I think that if you are doing something smaller one, okay, no doubt, your intention should be yes for pleasure, doing something for the birds. It's not that we were doing something special, just simple as usual. Okay, the stamps from different countries, Indian stamps, and we got some pictures of the birds too. And we use these resources not only for environmental science, but our science teacher, particularly from biology, he used these pictures just to show the science students also. The exhibitions, whenever there was an exhibition about coins, the art students, they carried out the exhibition. But whenever it was about birds, animals, the science students, they took the lead. And it becomes so natural for them that every year on 15th August and 26th January, we used to just carry out these type of activities for small kids. It was a kind of, you can say, creating awareness among the small kids. This is my classroom activity. When we collected the birds, there was a lesson in English. Where have all the birds gone for 12th standard? And here you may find the student, they collected the pictures, they just pasted it on the blackboard. Some self-taken photographs are just pasted on the blackboard. In villages, they have this opportunity. They have a better understanding, a better knowledge of nature. They know the local names of the birds. They know everything about the small birds, the big birds. And the boys, here the boys, they are displaying not only the feathers but also some notes and pictures. We used to carry these posters and pictures to some other places, and these exhibitions were held at University at Amravati, at Akula, big cities. These resources, they were collected, developed at a small school in a village, and these were studied by the students of university level, graduates and postgraduates. All the resources in one sheet. You may see the old note where you have the elephant on it, 100 rupees, the first, maybe the initial stage note of 100 rupees. Then the new concept, the color coins. You may find the color coins, but these are our foreign coins. Then there are special coins on birds and the feather machines. These are our projects. in the lap of Himalayas. There was a lesson by Vinay Gupta on In the Lap of Himalayas, which depicted a beautiful picture of Yamunotri. And while teaching the lesson, I thought that yes, something is missing. So from my town, which is around 1700 kilometers from here, from our town, I came to Yamunotri, Gangotri, Badrinath and Kedarnath and took the pictures according to the lines of the poet. Whatever the poet wrote, I took the pictures and I came on bicycle because that was the only kind of vehicle I think that I can stay anywhere, just bathing under some waterfall, staying there. And I know this region from 2002. 6 times I visited this region, and I know every nook and corner of Uttarakhand. I love it, and it's a privilege for me. It's really something special for me to be here presenting all these things. And after returning back, we carried only one activity. Instead of reading the book, just made posters of those particular lines in the classroom, pasting the posters. And while reading, I said there was only one you can say one motto, that just to read the line and attach and compare and try to find out where is the poster. And the students were so engaged that they always focus on posters and the line, posters and the line. So learning a language lesson becomes very interesting when you are taking some special efforts for them. It was way back in 2002. And another lesson was there. After changing the step, there was a lesson on Deva, the last one. And again, I went to Kokengoa in Karnataka for 46 days on bicycle, collecting again the information regarding all the aspects and all the details of the lesson of their bar. Oh, Captain My Captain, that is the famous poem. That is a famous poem by Walt Whitman, an American poet. And it was on the Civil War. The coins collected for the teaching American history were used in the Oh Captain, My Captain activity. The poem in the poem showing that the coin and how it was divided among two groups and which state followed which one. And students enjoyed an English poem using actually coins. That was Oh Captain, My Captain. Then there was a poem on Kingfisher. We have the feathers, you might have seen the feathers of Kingfisher. And we use the feathers of Kingfisher. Home sanctuary, I already talked about. So, just to conclude, I'd like to say that there is no need to spend a lot of money on just bringing or buying the resources from markets, because nowadays the world has become too materialistic everywhere. For even craft or something like that, the parents have to pay hundreds and thousands of rupees. Why? That your son is learning how to paint. There are hobby classes. I don't know how they can run these hobby classes and people are just going blindly there. Anybody can develop any hobby. And I think that this region, this particular Devbhumi region, has a lot of treasure. 2 days before we went to Badrinath and saw some beautiful stones. Even here, teachers and students, they can gather the flowers, they can create their own herbarium, they can even make a collection of stones. I have a collection of pine cones because in Gangotri area you may find different pine cones. In the Yamunotri area, another different kind of pine cones. This rich region you can utilize for just creating your resources, using it for different type of subjects, and yes, every year you can add it. Friends, that's all from here. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sri Patel sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful discourse where you revealed on various. Sir, kindly be seated here on the dais itself. Sir, kindly be seated here. You revealed on various resources of different historical era. You talked about environmental projects, regarding collection of feathers. You explained about the phenomenal resources and talked about the summer camp where you planted the trees, putting earthen pots, attracted the entire hawk of birds, uh, which included nearly 40 different species. So you explained how activity-based learning and experiential knowledge is a very helpful and an effective source of teaching learning process. Your efforts are truly commendable, sir, and you relate the abstract theoretical concepts with the practical examples and practical endeavors that materializes the virtuality and gives them a concrete shape, a concrete structure. You shared your experiences with your attachment with our state of Uttarakhand and how it inspired you in walking forward and taking your aims and motives in a progressive direction. Thank you, sir, for sharing your views and be presenting your discourse with us. I would again request our chairperson, Professor M.P. Nagwal, sir, to kindly present the memento on this occasion. Memento presentation. I request our chairperson, sir, to present the memento to our resource person, Sri Rajesh P. Patil, sir. Thank you, sir, for this interesting discourse and being present with us on this platform today. We are very much honored to have you with us. Thank you so much, sir. And with this, we'll proceed further. And in this sequence, our next keynote speaker is Dr. Sandhya A. Thakur, ma'am. I request you, ma'am, to kindly come up on the dais. And I request our chairperson, sir, once again to present the bouquet and welcome ma'am on this occasion. This sapling, this bouquet, a token of our gratitude, a token of our love from the entire state of Uttarakhand to Dr. Sandhya A. Thakur, ma'am. A hearty welcome to you, ma'am, on this occasion. A very warm welcome and regards for being present and being the part of this occasion. Thank you so much, ma'am. A short introduction, I will read it out for our ma'am, our resource person. Dr. Sandhya A. Thakur is an ex-lecturer and environment educationist in Mumbai. She is a biology educator and researcher with 38 years of teaching at S.K. Somaiya Junior College and possesses an experience as visiting scholar at Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education. She is specialized in innovative, multimodal, and affordable teaching practices in science. She actively mentors students from unprivileged backgrounds, develops accessible science toolkits, and trains teachers through workshops and conferences. Dr. Sandhya A. Thakur published her work in leading journals and presented an international forum. It's a privilege to have you with us, ma'am, today, and I extend my heartiest welcome once again, and I request you to kindly proceed for your keynote address. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So good morning, everyone. Now this is my first visit to Gopeshwar, Uttarakhand. Earlier I had come to Dehradun for some different purposes, but I had seen only the city part of it, and this is really pleasure to see this nature. And I heard a lot about it. I read a lot about it, but to see it, it is really a great experience and we going back with a lot of good memories. Now this climate resilience, to talk about it, when many of you must be knowing what is climate resilience, but when last month, one of my friends she gave me this topic to talk about. Truly, I was not knowing what is climate resilience. I googled out, I searched for it, and then I understood what is. I'm not sure whether I understood fully, but that is how I came to know what is climate resilience. Nowadays, we are so much, climate conscious, I should say. Anything which is there now, daily update you get of the climate. If there is particular event, if you are traveling, if you go somewhere, immediately we have habit to see the phone and see what is the climate. In newspaper you get about the climate, on television you get updates, which was not like that when I was young, when I was growing, even when I was in college. So these are all which are recent developments. I'll be talking about it. It's more than what is more data scientific of this. I'm going to talk about how, in my age of 70 years, what I have experienced on this earth about this climate, about which we were not talking earlier. We were not talking about climate when I was young. I don't remember. So I just started recollecting when we started about climate so much. Now this, yes. So what I have understood is to talk about it. Let me share one experience. So when I was in the US with my daughter, granddaughters, so twice it happened that it was 3 years back. It so happened that there was warning of hurricane, and it was same even this year when I went there. It was so when you get the warning of hurricane, everybody gets this warning in the houses, on the phones, and then one day it so happened that I was uh, alone in the house. My daughters were away for their work, and I was there at home with my granddaughter who was 7 years old at that time. Now, there the children, they are taught to survive in all situations, to respond to all the situations. So I thought that let me see how she responds. And to my surprise, she knew everything so well. Their houses are wooden houses, the walls and everything. There are no bricks. There are wooden houses, and then they, with the hurricanes, very easily they blow away. But they have one room which is of a brick, and she knew that. So what she did in that small room, she kept chair for her, chair for me. Then she kept a water bottle. If we have to sit there for a long time, then we should have water there to drink. Some eatables. Then she brought the pet dog, and we, three of us, we sat in that small room which was of the brick. We sat there until the warning was off. And then after the warning went off, then we came out. So and one other occasion this year it so happened that it was severe hurricane which was there coming in that area. So that time, what essentials we had to take to that particular room, what we took is only the paperwork, our passports and other things, essential paperwork, all that we took to that room and we sat there. So when I am there in, I stay in Goa. So when I stay in my house and when I'm alone, I'm staying alone over there. So I think that if at all this happens, and if of course Goa coast is very safe for any of the cyclones, hurricanes, but if it happens that some cyclone is coming, I get the warning. What I'll do first of all, I'll see that which is the safest place. So I have located one room in my house which is on the sides, it was no windows over there. Then I keep some, like my granddaughter did, I keep some water, eatables over there. And if at all really cyclone comes, what I will do, I'll sit there until it goes away. And then I'll go out, see if there is any damage. But I'll be able to face it because I knew it earlier that it was coming. And therefore I took care of myself. And then I can plan that now how I have to clear whatever damage it is done. And further, I will plan in future that in future if such thing comes, maybe cyclone or maybe something else, how I'll prepare myself for that. So this is all nothing but climate resilience. It is nothing but anticipation. You can't know about the risk. And then it is about the adaptation. You face it, you recover it, and then you make the arrangements for sustainable uh, arrangements further. And that is what is climate resilience. Now, what matters in daily life? Of course, it matters in daily life because if there is any cyclone, if there is any flood, if any such extreme heat, extreme cold, whatever it is there are physical health is affected. And it is not only physical health, mentally also, which are usually overlooked, and that is also affected. Food security, because agriculture is affected, and therefore for the villagers, for farmers, they get less yield, and for the people living in the urban, the prices they rise, and therefore they are also affected. Infrastructure safety, day for yesterday, 2 days we were traveling here in Uttarakhand in this area, and we saw very first day how the roads were damaged because of the landslides. And that is how it is the road. If the roads are damaged, if the roads are blocked, and it affects our daily life. Economic stability is affected, and informed decision making. That is the complete system which is there. That is also affected. Now 70 years on this planet. I was born there in Maharashtra in one village which is called as Badlapur. Now it is in Kalyan district. And then my schooling I did in Nasik. All of you know the place. From Nasik, for further education, I moved to Mumbai. And there I lived for more than 55 years. I did my BSc in biology as a main subject, zoology as a main subject, and then MSc in marine zoology, and further my doctorate in ecology, where mangroves was my main area of research. And then after after retirement, I joined Homi Baba Science Center for Science Education. And my complete field, it changed. I was in totally in ecology and biology, but further I changed over to science education. Now, from that time, from retirement to up to now, we are going to different places. We are training teachers and educators to how to make science education easy and effective. So that is our area at present. Now, when I say I lived on this planet for 70 years, what are the changes? I look back and I feel what are the changes in place. Yes, I feel it in water. Earlier, I was coming to my native place, Goa, and we had well water. There were taps actually, but then well water was considered to be very clean. And then we used to have well water, and that used to be very tasty. We could just take the water from the wells and we could drink it. Now it is not possible. Now also in our house we have well, there is water in that. This year it rained so much from May to November, and it is full. But then we don't drink it. We drink water only from the tap, and even we feel that whatever food we are eating, that is not having that taste which it was there earlier. Even at home, you must be having elderly people, and they say that the food which we actually used to earlier, the water which you drink, that taste is not here now. Yesterday also when we were the day we were coming to Uttarakhand, on the way we waited for lemon juice, and the person who was preparing, what we did, we bought one Bisleri bottle and we gave him, and we told him that make it in this water. He said, "Madam, ये झील का जो पानी है ना, बहुत अच्छा पानी है, इसको इतना टेस्ट है. But I was so scared because I had to leave 4 more days here in Uttarakhand and I didn't want any other consequences. So we told him, we'll have that later, but today we just make it with this. So what is there but we are afraid to drink that water which is coming with it. And we, instead of drinking that, whenever you go to restaurant, you ask for the distillery water. If they give water in a glass, will you drink it? I don't know how many of you. You feel it in the earth. Earlier, whatever manures we are using, it is not same now. The farmers and all, they are using more and more fertilizers, and as far as their regions, I see in Konkan and Goa region, many places we see that the land is become infertile because of overuse of these fertilizers. I see it in the chirping birds because earlier, only a few years back, there were a number of birds around my house. I don't see them now. Especially as my house is near the seashore, there were a number of kingfishers. And these kingfishers are so less. In Goa, you will find kingfisher bottles lot, they are increasing, but the kingfishers actually birds, they are decreasing so much. So that is also is our concern when we say climate change or climate whatever disasters that are happening. This is all coming along with that. Of course, we don't taste the food actually we're eating earlier. Now we are using so many, the use of oil is increased, prosperity is more, so we use number of spices, all that, but in spite of that, the food is not that tasty as it used to be earlier. I acknowledge it in the air, I experience it in the seasons that have changed. So that all of us we agree, seasons have changed. This year especially, it was so worst for people there in Goa because it started raining at the end of May and it continued almost up to the end of October and in November also it continued. And my crop which was there, we have a crop, rice crop over there, paddy crop. It, it was there for ready for harvesting. But then we couldn't get time. It was still raining. It fell down and the seeds started germinating in that soil again. And there was no time for harvesting. But still, I was just thinking that we have different other sources of income. What about the farmers who have no other source? They are depending, their livelihood is depending only on the crop which they are growing. And if that crop goes, then what they will do? And that is how you must be reading in the newspaper. There are suicide cases of farmers. In Maharashtra also there are a number of cases. So it is because of all the seasonal changes. And as the climate is changing and there are a number of disasters, these conditions are going to change in future too. I acknowledge it in the air I breathe in. Of course, air which we are breathing is also not daily. We are seeing the newspapers and about daily, especially the air quality. Everybody knows what's about it, and it is not only daily; it is everywhere. In your phone, you have that Google map. In that, you can see the air quality. All of you know it. And when you see the air quality, you can see the red areas which are increasing day by day, which are showing the air quality. The other day, my nephew who had come from US, we were just same PPT we were making, and we were sitting in the balcony open air. And so after some time, he was, because he lives there in the country where the air quality is better, so he can smell the things easily. So after we sat for about 5 to 10 minutes, he said that Kaki, I cannot breathe here because can't you smell something burning? Then when he said like that, and when I started noticing, I came to know, yes, there is some burning smell because once rainy season gets over, whatever that leftovers of the crop or other things, people start burning, and then we don't think it at all that it is going to cause the pollution. And that is how the air which was there earlier, we all agree that it is not the same. I sense it in the mosquitoes, but the other insects disappear. Usually it used to happen that evenings, in Goa you have a lot of greenery, and a lot of bushes and mountains, and they're all green, and you have a lot of insects too. Evening time, whenever you light when the lights are on, the insects keep on coming. In spite of closing the windows and everything, you have net and everything. From somewhere they enter inside, and every day it is work for us to clear the house of insects. Earlier, I used to feel this very tedious, lot of work to clean it. Now, the sad part is there are no so many insects now, and then I feel it very bad. I feel that I can clean the house, I can watch out, but let the insects come. But it is because this is what is we have to observe. What are the changes which are taking place? This is especially for all this young generation who's here. They should notice all these things, note all these things, and when they be teachers in future, and when they will teach their children, in the students in the school, they should tell their students also how to observe nature and how it is changing. They should not only observe, make a note of it, and they can just see how they can change, because they are the people who are going to change this world and this planet. So, open your senses. What you could tell these youngsters is just see. Climate change, you don't have to go through just very high type of uh, research is going on, or don't need to go through the research papers or anything like that. Just see around and you come to know that it is changing. Your senses should be open and you come to know what is happening around and what you are supposed to do for that. And then I think when I see on that now, I think that the best home I have was my childhood, which will never return. Yes. So is climate resilience highly relevant? Yes. For which we have to do some individual actions and community actions, collective efforts. So later on, many times we feel that is earlier when I was just reading, it is not that though we are talking about this climate recently, when you start reading it, you come to know that it is not now, it was earlier. Right from 18th century, people were talking, some scientists were talking about it, that the climate is changing, carbon dioxide is increasing, and carbon dioxide is a gas which is actually retaining heat. But then the thing was that time even scientists used to think that this is a good thing, that temperature is rising, because that time it was a fear that ice age may come, and so that was the fear, and that is how it was there. And then further it continued, but then people used to think that how if the climate is changing, Earth is so big and this universe is so big, what we can do? What we can do for that? But then every small change you do collectively, it is going to benefit this planet. What we can do for that? Save energy at home. Every time uh, people at home they tell you to save energy. These are all small things, but they are added. Especially what I observed is earlier it was cooking with a very simple cooking. Now, as our taste buds are evolving, we want food which is more and more tasty. And a lot of cooking is done in most of the kitchens, especially in COVID season. That time, so many channels with cooking channels they started. There were not so many earlier. And whatever food which is to be simple, if you are eating carrots and if you eat the carrots, that is giving you so many nutrients. But you grate it and make carrot halwa, you feel that it will give taste to your taste buds, but it may give less nutrients to your body. So that is how you can save energy at home. You can even walk to the distances. Now people take decisions nowadays at the last moment. And whenever it is moment, they rush with the bike. They have a bike and every small thing use the bike. So we can walk the small distances, we can use the bike, that is bicycle, and use public transport. Last 15 days back, I had my friend's son had come from Germany, and he said that there, if they are using public transport, it is made so comfortable and frequency is very good and it is very cheap. So he said, I have money, but I don't feel like buying a car because first of all, I'm helping the environment and it is so convenient. So I don't help it. I don't use. I don't feel like taking the buying the car. Eat more vegetables. You should go less. Actually, what I observed here is more people are vegetarian, and that is good. If you are eating meat, to produce 1 kg of meat for a hen or for a goat, it has to eat so many kgs of vegetable grains and everything. So it is burden on the environment, and if we eat more vegetables, that will help. Consider your travel. Travel only when it is necessary. Throw away waste food. In the marriages, in the parties, there are buffets. It is not our traditional system which is of eating. There are buffets and people. I have seen people taking the food in the plate. I said there is no tomorrow, and then they eat whatever they want and throw away. So all of you must have observed such waste of food in the different functions. Reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle. Change your home source of energy. You can go for solar energy for most of the things. Switch to the electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are available now. It is not very common, but slowly it will become common. Choose eco-friendly products and speak up. Whenever you get chance, you should speak up. Speak up to your youngsters. The other day I was walking on the road near my house, and there is a resort. What I observed was, when I was just walking, one tourist bus came to stand halt over that resort, and as the tourist bus halted, people from the were sitting in the bus. They threw some Bisleri bottles and the packages of lace, empty packages of lace plastic package. I was so irritated. I just went there and then I told them that from where have you come? They told me from particular state they had come. Then I asked them, do you throw like this and do you make your land dirty over there? They said no. Then I told them that is not possible here also. So will you please collect it? Fortunately, they did good thing. They collected it, and then I told them that when you are going to this resort, there is arrangement that they will collect the waste and that will be recycled. Now, community actions also can be there, like implementing early warning systems, investing in resilient infrastructure, adopting climate smart resilient agricultural practices, restoring ecosystems, and fostering social connections and community support networks. What can we do? Can we do this? So, if you have read the news few days back, I read in Gujarat, in my Mehsana district, there's a village. Many of the youngsters of the village, they are staying abroad, and they have a practice that for a village they have a common kitchen. So everybody in the village, Morning time they'll go for a breakfast, afternoon lunch and dinner. So food for everybody is cooked in one kitchen. Lot of energy is saved, lot of time is saved of so many people. It is not possible for the big areas, but still in small towns and all, or even in the cities in some areas, they can have such common kitchens which will save energy. Also, there can be common laundries, public laundries can be there, where they can have arrangement of recycling that water, cleaning and recycling the water. So that can also save. Say no to overuse of plastic or detergents. Carry on your own bag. Least on dairy. If there is more dairy, more kettles, more methane produced, and more methane produced greenhouse gas. So that will trap more heat. Simple cooking at least oil and with least oil and meat. Prefer locally grown vegetables, which I have seen here. Wherever we are staying, there is always every day we are getting locally grown, and that is what is tradition of this particular place. Minimize daily traveling. Use degradable plates and packaging. Now this is what is one region in this year, June I think, there was flooding in China Ganzhou region. This is what is the picture of our country in last month. Two low pressure areas were created. This is also a picture. Now when you see these pictures, they are so scary. Though we are not affected, when we read it, we feel that is so scary. So there is a new term which is there for that, and it is called as psychotherapy, which was actually coined, this term was coined by Glenn Aldrich. And what is that psychotherapy? Psychotherapy, it is nothing but eco anxiety, climate trauma, solastalgia, ecological grief. That is, when you get such news, you get scared. You get scared of your future. You get scared of your next generation. If this is the condition now, what my children, what days will be there for my children? How they are going to face it? So all that fear which is there, that is. So there is also threat to biodiversity. There is habitat destruction and alteration, species migration and extinction, ecological destruction, ocean and marine impact, increased disease and invasive species, and that research sector is repeated. Nowadays, where I live in Goa, for about 2 years, there are one or two leopards which are there around, which were not there earlier. And not only that, one tiger which is also moving around, and people they have that video camera and that it is seen. Why are migrating to the region of human where humans are staying? Because we are destroying their habitat. Because their habitat is destroyed, they are moving to the other places which we don't like. And you may be reading the newspapers in Pune, this leopard attacks, they have killed few people, and therefore it is a big issue, and it is a big issue of discussion. Zoonosis, some these are some microorganisms which are actually causing diseases for the animals, but because these animals are now mingling with the other cattle and other things and even human beings, these diseases are transferred to the human population. Climate change is not gender neutral. Otherwise, we know that most of the household work, taking care of the family, taking care of the children, it is considered as job of a woman. And therefore, when it is the climatic some disturbance, who is more affected are women. They are affected more. Now, actually, I'm going to talk about this one very indigenous system in Goa, and that is what is called as Khajan. This Khajan actually was developed very much back when I was studying it in 6th century. In ancient time also, wherever for that you need to see the map of Goa. Now in this one we can see the rivers. Many rivers are there. They originate from the base of the mountains and finally they open into the ocean and the Arabian Sea. And their complete way is very much zigzag and very narrow initially, and then finally they open into the sea. So during high tide, the salt water comes in. And when it is low tide, the fresh water goes to the sea. So there is a lot of fluctuation of salinity. And therefore it is not, in the trees, there is a special biodiversity, special weather conditions. And this is what is the specialty of these coastal regions of Goa and Maharashtra coastal regions. Now here, in ancient time, the system was developed, and that was Kajan system. It was such that people from that particular village, that community, they used to have, whenever it was June and the water started coming, during that time, fish and prawns, they come towards the fresh water to lay eggs. So after they lay eggs, what the people of the community they used to do, they used to develop the gates, and these gates will restrict now further water coming in. So the eggs will hatch, the young ones will grow, and when the fish grow in size, prawns grow in size, they used to harvest and sell it. So it was for food as well as for economy. And then same thing in summer, the water was collected in the region and that was used for salt production. While during rainy season, the land around, though it was salty, they used to have the varieties, certain varieties like Asco, Forgot, some varieties are there which are salt tolerant varieties of the rice. They used to grow these varieties, and this land, which was in the coastal region, was used for salt production, aquaculture, as well as for agriculture. And but after Portuguese came, what they did was, as this land was belonged to community, the complete village, they gave it individually to different people. They sold it individually to different people, because of which many of these legends which are there, they have deteriorated. Only few of them they are remain. This is what is about this bhajan. And then lastly, I want to tell something like this. So, these are the news which we got from the newspapers. So one of that, let me discuss here, which is about Odisha. In the Odisha, as we know that it is very much cyclone-prone region. Cyclones every year there are the coastal region is disturbed, and land from that region is washed off, or it is very much it is become saline, and the life of these people is very much in danger. So in this region, government has developed some plans, and about 300 women, they are called as climate champions. They were trained about new way of agriculture, different other sources of livelihoods, and therefore that is how about 300 women, they trained the remaining people also. And now they found that the life of these people have changed drastically. And that is what is the success story of this woman. Now, before I conclude, I want to tell you one more incident. It's not a story, it is an incident of uh, my house. So, how we can tell small children also about this climate, how to care about this climate. Once it so happened that in my house, my grandson was given, he was cranky by the evening, so he wanted a glass of water, a glass of milk. So he was given a glass of milk. Because he was cranky, somehow it happened that he just threw it off and it spilled over down. So we cleaned it. But then, uh, anytime you expect that the parents will be scolding the child, nothing happened. But then he started crying. So he said that why, we asked him why you're crying. He said, because you're angry. So my daughter said, we're not angry, but I need to talk to you. What she did, she took that child, her son, to a room. Then she told him, see this glass of water, the glass of milk which was given to you, how that milk has come to our table. This milk is given by the cows. Cows need grass to eat. That some people have taken efforts to grow that grass. And it takes number of days to grow that grass. Then the cows, they eat it. Then some people, they milk the cow. They bring it, and by transportation that comes to the market which is nearby. We go to the market, we get it, and we pay some money and we bring it home. So when you have spilled one glass of milk, you have destroyed the efforts of so many people. You have nullified the efforts of so many people. And therefore I am upset. So I feel that this is how we can tell even the small kid how we can care the climate. And with that, I end my thing. All of you are very hungry. I can see on your faces.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Uh, Thank you so much, ma'am. I will request you to kindly take your seat on the dais. Well, it was a very insightful discourse regarding climatic resilience. We talked about adaptations. What is climatic resilience? You explained that it's an ability to face or combat or to anticipate and recover from the climate devastations. You also elaborated on how it impacts our daily life. When you talked about its various dimensions, you made a contrast of various experiences that changed with the course of time. You raised various concerns that we face in our day-to-day life regarding these climatic changes, which includes extinction of birds, insects, pesticide in case of farmers. You exemplified some solutions also, like common kitchen and using public laundries that can help in recycling of the water. You revealed a new term, psychotherapeutic syndrome. It is new for me, I think. And you elaborated it in a very interesting manner. Your concerns were all picked up from your day-to-day observations, ma'am, and this truly generates a deep concern in our mind. You have very well portrayed the graveness of the situation and inspired us to raise our collective efforts in this direction. Uh, I express my gratitude to you, ma'am. Thank you so much, and I request our guest of honor, Dr. Rawat sir, to kindly give the memento to Dr. Sandhya Thakur ma'am. Dr. Rawat sir, I will request you. Dr. Rawat, I request you to kindly honor our resource person by presenting this memento on this occasion. A memento from the entire organizing team and given away by our guest of honor, Dr. Kalyan Singh Rawat sir. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, ma'am, for presenting such an insightful lecture. With this, I also welcome the media personals who have arrived between us, and thank you on behalf of the entire organizing team. Now proceeding on forward, we have with us our next resource person, Professor Vimolan Mudle, sir. I request you, sir, to kindly come up on the dais. And I again request our chairperson, Professor M. P. Natwar, to kindly present a bouquet of the sapling and welcome sir on behalf of the entire organizing team. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on this occasion of International Conference at Gopeshwar. I'll begin with a short introduction. Professor Vimolan Mudle, who is a professor in the Department of Mathematics in the School of Education at University of KwaZulu-Natal. Professor Mudle, an expert in mathematics education, has made a significant contribution in both visualization and active learning in mathematics. He began his career as a school educator and served as an examiner of the National Senior Certificate Examinations. He also served as the chairperson of the Association of Mathematics Educators in South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal sector. With a renowned expertise in his discipline at the School of Education, Dr. Mudle has managed to partner and collaborate with the leading researchers nationally as well as internationally. Besides this, Dr. Mudle chaired the team that wrote the chapter on education, graduated more than 50 masters and PhD students, and has published more than 60 papers and book chapters. A very warm welcome to you, sir, on today's occasion, and we are really honored and privileged to have you here, and we eagerly look forward to hear from you on today's talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I offer my deepest gratitude to all today for inviting me to this very esteemed conference. My best wishes to all seated here today and all protocols observed to the very honored guests that are present today. I greet you with the best wishes from all those present in South Africa as well. Thank you very much. I have listened to all of the wonderful talks today, and I am quite impressed with the kind of work that has been done so far, and that is being done currently by such esteemed scientists and people and academicians so far, and I feel quite minuscule amongst such great people. And I thank you very much. Us coming to India was such a learning experience, and I'm grateful for that. My topic today was emancipatory and transformative education in a time of polycrisis. So I wanted this talk to be a little bit. By the way, you would have heard from the introduction the kind words that the chairperson was used to introduce me. I'm a visualization person, so my research has to do with researching what people think and how they think and what they do, especially in mathematics. But I do it in other areas as well, and so I have to play around with it wherever I do. I deliver talks, and so here's an opportunity again. So, what do you think is the biggest crisis that assails the world currently? So today we're sitting here and we're talking about indigenous knowledge systems. So what do you think, in your mind now, what do you think is the biggest crisis that assails the world? So think about it, and the strangest thing is, from the research that we conduct, different people will think different things, isn't it? So if I had the opportunity and I asked each of you to talk to each other, the strangest thing is you might discover that different people will think of different things. And we can think about examples. I will list a large number of examples that you might possibly have thought of. All of those examples will talk about how this little world is being destroyed. And you will see that, if you look at the destruction of fauna and flora, climate change, all of those things have been mentioned, by the way. energy and water crisis, climate change, polluted seas and oceans. All of that have already been mentioned by the speakers before me. Human rights abuse and economic instability. And if you think about all of those previous, ones that we've mentioned, you will see how they are related. And I will come to that just now. Population growth and how all of these things are related. So I'm just listing a large number of things because there's so many people, and I'm not sure what you might have thought about. So here's an exercise. This is an exercise I will conduct with generally we will conduct fewer number of people when they're sitting together in a workshop situation. So we say think of 2 or 3 more crises that you think that you believe could be linked to the first one. So you thought of one, think of 2 or more other ones that are linked to the first one. Okay? And so on the same page, write these down. And how are these linked? And I'll show you how crises are never separated. All crises somehow become polycrises. Polycrises. So, just very quickly, a crisis is something that affects a lot of people, affects us very seriously. Right? So, a crisis is something that, it's not a crisis if it doesn't affect us. A crisis is something that affects us. A polycrisis will be a series of crises, or a crisis, or many crises, or crises that affect us but are linked to each other. Right? So let's say these are a number of crises, but for them to be a polycrisis, they need to be linked to each other. Now, here is the thing. Because I'm a visual person, and I expect you to think visually, I expect you to think about how each one of these things are linked. Okay, so we know economic instability is one. The world, whilst the population increases, poverty also increases, isn't that so? People are struggling for work. Even if they find work, the amount of the salaries will be not so good. So there's some economic instability and so on. So, but how are all of these things linked? So your task is to see how these things are linked. Of course, the easiest way to look at it is if there's climate change, then people's health suffers, isn't it? You know that if the temperatures increase, then people start to develop all kinds of health and diseases. I mean, you might get more mosquitoes. Mosquitoes bring malaria. People suffer with it. Or, of course, if there's climate change, there might be flooding, there might be destruction of fauna and flora. If there's climate change, energy shortages, with flooding, it might be destruction of our energy system, and so on. So that's one way of looking at it. And of course, you know that if you think about Donald Trump, for example, you know that there's so much of misinformation about climate change. He doesn't believe it. And and Donald Trump is not the only person. There's a large part of the world that does not believe that climate change is a real thing. People believe that it's cyclical, that we go through these phases as we go along. But there's different ways to look at climate change. Climate change may result in energy shortages, which results in health crisis, which if people are sick and stay at home, then of course there's going to be economic instability. And then of course climate change can result in destruction of fauna and flora. So all I'm saying is there are various ways that you can look at the way the world is being affected by the different crises that affect us. Okay? But still, there are all kinds of misinformation that are taking place. So what does this mean? So the destruction of nature, how does the destruction of nature affect the world? So the destruction of nature directly drives and accelerates climate change in several interconnected ways. The loss of forests reduces the Earth's ability to absorb CO2. Trees, for example, act as carbon sinks. Right? So we know that these trees, we have the speckworm in South Africa. It's very indigenous to South Africa. They absorb this carbon dioxide, and they give up oxygen. Uh, so if we were very aware of it, then what we would do is we would plant a lot of these worms in our yards so that we would make sure that we would have carbon sinks in our yards so that it would absorb the carbon dioxide and it would produce more oxygen and so on. So that's very important. Education is kind of very important. Of course, we can go through each of these things in different ways, and we can see how the biodiversity loss weakens natural climate regulation. And as we were coming through to this venue today, I had quite an education on biodiversity by looking at the different trees and the way they were planted and so on. And you got them this morning as well. The idea of how trees are planted, with plants that need more water, plants at the base of a system, and so on. And the biodiversity relates to that. And there's so much of building that's taking place, and the destruction of land and forests is taking place. I can just see that urbanization and land conversion is just so much that there's more concrete, more asphalt, more buildings that's taking place. And what are they doing? They're creating heat islands. So every time there's more tar, that means more asphalt, more concrete, more buildings, you create more heat islands. And these islands contribute to more increased temperatures closer to the earth, and that's what's creating more problems. And therefore, we need more air conditioners down at our level. That's why we need more air conditioners in our, of course, not on the Himalayas. I discovered we need more heaters last night. But certainly in the urban areas, you need more air conditioners because it's getting very hot. And it's very hot because of the number of people. And of course, we know that the ocean degradation affects carbon dioxide. It is also absorption, more CO2 released into the atmosphere. We know everything about what is happening in the world. But what are we doing? Where is the changes that are taking place? And how are we improving the capacity of people to address the environment and development issues? So with sustainable development as a new focus, and I'm glad that such a conference will take place. I am actually very glad. It doesn't matter that I have to travel from South Africa, takes something like 20 odd hours by plane and another 12 hours by vehicle to get here. I am so pleased to be here because these are the kind of conferences that might save the world. So with sustainable development education, we expect that if we change the lives and minds of a few people, then I think we will be make some changes. Now, this is a very important statement. Without change, won't we destroy ourselves? It is not saying, won't we destroy the world? It's not saying, won't we destroy the world? He said, without change, won't we destroy ourselves? Because in destroying the world, whom are we changing? We're destroying ourselves. We are very deliberately destroying the earth earth which is so beautiful, so productive, that is nourishing us. So we are we are reached a point as human beings where we must wipe the slate clean and begin all over again. Imagine we've reached a state where we have to now start all over again. God gave us this earth, and we now have to start all over again. So we are living in a state of a polycrisis, which we created. God didn't create a polycrisis, we created the polycrisis. A time when multiple interconnected crises are right? There's a large number of crises. I'm investing part. There's a large number of traditional education, the ordinary education. Here we know that we sit in a situation where our traditional education only emphasizes the transmission of knowledge, like what I'm doing now. I'm standing here and I'm going to talk to you. Isn't that so? This is linear transmission. I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to say what's on my mind. I'm giving you an opportunity for us to have a discussion and for us to have an exchange of ideas, and so that we can both of us learn and make meaning of the information that's coming through. So that's what we're not doing. And so the linear theoretical transmission is insufficient for preparing learners to address uncertain, ambiguous, and interconnected crises. Because there are children out there, when I drive through the village roads, there are children out there who know more about the land use and the farming than I will ever get to know through all of my 61 years of living. Because they have experienced that farming life. They'll teach, importantly, it's the last one there, the Anthropocene epoch, because that's the epoch where we are at now. So we went through all of these epochs, and we're at that epoch because we are now the main role players, the actors, the Amitabh Bachchans of this epoch who are destroying this planet. That's why we will be remembered by the future inhabitants of this universe, because we are making such a mark on this world. It's because we're destroying it in every way. So that's why we say in the Anthropocene epoch, humankind is the biggest individual determiner of the future of the planet Earth, which means that the future is in the hands of humans more than ever before. How desperately this Earth is crying out for us to try to save it, but we're not. In other words, human impacts on the atmosphere, oceans, and nature are significant enough to leave permanent impacts. In other words, if I go now into a certain areas and I dig into the ground, I'll go down even 1, 2, 3 meters, and I'll find human waste. That's what we find, human waste. So the official arrival of the Anthropocene epoch would mark the end of the Holocene epoch, heralding the destruction. And I mean, I'm not being dramatic, overly dramatic, but it heralds the destruction of our planet in many ways. So I said rise of man, fall of earth. I am just trying to be very, very serious about it. So from recent report, you know that humans are destroying the planet and all the natural systems, and you know that the water cycle, the carbon cycle, the oxygen cycle, soil formation, and all of that, they all operate together. All of these things operate together. And if you destroy one of those cycles, it affects the other cycle that works together. And we heard of the ecosystem. So many cycles that we mentioned today, and all of those things operate together. And then, of course, we had forest, plants, wildlife that we reduce. Food production will become more difficult. Of course, we're trying so desperately. I don't know whether by destroying the forest and trying to increase food production. I don't know that. I think it's more for buildings and so on. Food production will become more difficult. The quality of the soil is decreasing. We know that. Natural resources and declining water. I was very excited to hear that that, we, that our speaker before didn't want to drink the water. Everybody's afraid of drinking the natural water that's coming out of the soil because we don't know what is in that water. Why? Why are we so afraid of that water? I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the water. So why? Because we poison the water. We have poisoned the water. So we've destroyed the water and we're still afraid of it. And we're afraid to grow plants in that. So here's the thing. Even when I see the shell nuts that you find roasted on the side of the street, I say, I'd like to eat that. But I'm not sure where it was grown because I don't know what chemicals and what other pollutants was in that soil. So I'm afraid to buy that nut, peanuts and something like that. So climate change is threatening the existence of life on Earth. There's more flooding, there's more cyclones, there's more tornadoes and so on. We've never known about tornadoes, by the way, in South Africa, and we've got them as well. So this necessitates a societal change in order. By the way, and the change that I'm talking about is a human change in the minds. And that's what I want. So that's what I talk about. This can occur only through the transformation of the human minds, our minds. If we want to change the world, we've got to change ourselves. We can't talk about going into a classroom and talking to children about changing the way they operate. We cannot change the way we operate. In general, we would all agree that happiness is better than misery. I think everybody would agree with that. Peace is better than conflict. Harmony is better than discrimination. Love is better than hatred. But why then do we choose irresponsible planning and environmental degradation, exploitation of resources, which generate waste and pollution that damage ecosystems rather than good, sustainable? And that's such an impossible question, and nobody will be able to answer. Even I look at statistics throughout the world, and even in India, soil degradation is a big part of that. So the presentation today is about transformative pedagogies. Pedagogy is about teaching, right? It's about teaching. Pedagogical ideas of how we teach, how we go into lecture venues, how we go into classrooms, how we go into communities, and how we teach, and to transform it, to be able to change people's thinking. That's what we want. We want to change people's thinking. And to change people's thinking, how we practice what we preach. Okay, we will teach by action, teach by doing, teach by showing, right? By the way, we can never teach children by telling. A constructive view of teaching is not by going to a classroom and being a sage on the stage. This is sage on the stage. Right? You need to be somebody who's a guide on the side. You need to be a guide on the side who goes around showing people how it's done by demonstrations, by getting them to work on their own. Martha Rogers proposed 5 dimensions for transformative pedagogy. Now, this is very theoretical, but I think it's useful for us to look at, right? The first dimension was the cognitive dimension. It relates to knowledge, rational thinking. It's about thinking and understanding. Now, please stop me when you think I should stop.
Sure.
Will you stop me when I should be?
Yes, sir.
Please, because I can go on talking. relates to knowledge and rational thinking about, and it's about thinking and understanding. I always say, I always say, so I will round up in 5 minutes. I haven't transformed this all. So my transformative thinking has not, I haven't gotten to the stage, but I will round up in 5 minutes. So much of dirt all outside the shops, and none of those people can think, oh, let me gather up all the dirt and throw it in the bin. It's out of my shop, out of my house. Why can't they think differently? It's all about that. So there's a lot of information there. And the next one is the affective dimension, relates to the combination of emotions and knowledge. It focuses on the emotional identity aspect. If I feel like it belongs to me, it is my problem, then I start to see, I feel like it's my house, my front portion, I should take care of it, then I will take care of it, isn't it? If it, I know that somebody else, it belongs to the municipality, it doesn't belong to me, then I don't care about it. That land belongs to somebody else, this university belongs to somebody else, I shouldn't bother, I can go to the, if this is my school, this is my building, I love it because it's mine, then that's the affective dimension, right? It includes empathy, motivation, identity, support the learner's emotional growth and well-being. And then, of course, social and collaborative dimension. If people work together, they want to work together. Why must this is the ideal way? People work as individuals in silos. They want to work separately. But when people work together, then they do more, isn't that so? Even in sustainable development areas, it includes dialogue, communicating, group work, cooperation, help learners develop social intelligence. By the way, this idea of constructive working together means that if they work together, they develop much more and greater understanding. Where one might not understand a concept better, engaging with somebody else helps them. Somebody might know a little bit something better, they share their ideas, and in sharing ideas, they understand better. Sorry, very quickly, let's go to the next one. Existential dimension means the learners question their own value, and this is very important, where they start to ask themselves questions. This is the metacognitive, ask themselves why. They question their own thinking. If I do something, I ask, why am I saying, why am I doing this? And it's not only about the sustainable development, there's so many things. It's about entire life where you think about your own thinking. If I did something, then I must think about why am I doing that. It includes reflecting on one's thinking. So I'm doing this, I'm planting this, let me think about why I'm doing it. If I'm destroying a particular thing, why am I doing that? So the planning, self-regulation, and preparation. So help learners become self-aware and self-directed. And the last one there is action, includes making new choices on a personal, communal, and political level. It's ethical and critical. This is the most important one, of course. This is the transformative core. It's questioning society, fairness, and power. This is where you examine power, inequality, and the do not accept anything as it is. Do everything ethically. You know, there's a social responsibility for it. Encourage agency and action towards a more just world. So the idea is about making sure that people become fair and just in the way they do things. By the way, I probably had this is probably one of the slides that I prepared, but I have to stop now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We had a very insightful discourse of Professor Motle, sir, he delivered his talk on polycrisis, in which he elaborated about the various climatic changes and how the destruction of environment leads to biodiversity losses. He talked about ocean degradations and consequently how it is reducing the carbon dioxide absorption. He talked on various dimensions of destruction of nature, and he just encouraged us to uh, go towards traditional education, as it is one of the effective mechanisms that can help us to check the challenges of polycrisis and help us to proceed towards sustainability. So, well said, sir. If one wants to change the world, we need to change ourselves. Thank you, Lord. Thank you once again, and I request again the chairperson of today's conference, Professor M.D. Nagwal, sir, to kindly present the memento and felicitate sir on this occasion. I also request our guest of honor, Sri Kalyan Singh Rawat, sir, to kindly join this moment. Dr. Kalyan Singh Rawat, sir, I request you to kindly join this moment. A moment of felicitation to our keynote speakers who presented on very insightful lecture on this occasion. A small gesture of our gratitude, sir. A small gesture of our respect and honor. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your presentation. With this, I have to make an announcement. For those who want to display their posters, you can contact the organizing secretary, Dr. Joginder, sir, and the venue will be AutoCAD Lab. So those who want to display their posters, you can go and contact there at AutoCAD Lab. And with that, we will be dispersing for the lunch, and we will be meeting back soon at 3 p.m. sharp for the next session. On the inaugural session rather. Has not yet started formally, so we will be reaching again here and we will be assembling at 3 p.m. sharp. Thank you so much. The students will be guiding you towards the lunch venue. I request all the students to kindly guide our guests towards the lunch venue. What?